What it do, M&M crew? Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Faren, and I'm a 6th year, 7th grade math teacher in the state of Florida.
I can pick you up when you're heading down. When it all just sucks, I'll be your Charlie Brown.
So as y'all seen, it is Wednesday. And no, I did not forget to pick up my camera. Your girl had a 4-day weekend. And I just feel so blessed because I needed every second of it. Your girl was exhausted. I rested. I planned. I got my life together. I did not put all my grades in. I probably only put 1 in. I still got to do that. But I am super proud of myself for taking time to rest and taking time to do what I wanted to do, I needed to do. And it was so, refreshing. I came here today not overwhelmed. I had all my Canvas stuff done. The only thing I needed to do was create a Teams link, which I figured it out thanks to my coworker this morning. It was way easier than I thought it was. I was out here thinking it was complex, and it was just literally boom, boom, bop, boom. That's it. And no one even showed up. Anyway, let me show y'all what we did today. Today we introduced subtracting integers. And if you are a middle school math teacher and you have to teach subtracting integers, let me know in the comments how that goes for you. Not teaching the rules, but teaching conceptually, why the rule is what it is. You feel me? I tried so hard today. This was the first time I feel like, don't mind, it's glue in my hand because I'm a child. I just felt it stretch, and I'm like, these people should probably wondering what the heck. I was literally just in dance practice or dance tryouts because one of my quad members, shout out to the quad, that's like my little squad of Marigolds, is the dance coach, and she's conducting tryouts right now. So literally me and my other friend went over there just to act a fool, and I know the whole dance. I said I'm gonna make a dance team since we are not having a cheerleading team this year. I don't know. I'll keep y'all posted. But I put glue on my hand because I don't know about y'all, but I like when it dries and then the feeling of picking it off. Is that just me? I'm a weirdo. Anyway, what was I saying? I have ADHD, y'all, I swear. What was I saying? Oh, subtracting integers. So I feel like this is the first year that I spent so long this summer trying to figure out a way to explain it to my kids. And I still feel like it was so complex. I don't know how to make subtracting integers simple because it's not. Your girls still kind of get confused when I have to think about it too hard. I just follow the rules. Don't judge me, okay? My brain be like, what? Literally, I was going through the questions today and I was asking my kids. I was like, does this make sense to y'all? It's okay if it doesn't. Because it took a while for Miss Brevett to even understand this conceptually, to be able to explain it to y'all conceptually, and I'm a whole grown woman. But I did counters again, and I asked them even what conceptually meant. I was like, I'm going to explain it to you conceptually. It might confuse the heck out of you. But hang on, because I'm going to teach you the rule, and it'll make it easier. So it was funny because literally after I showed the first question with counters, one of my kids was like, are we gonna have a test on this? I was like, yeah. They look so disappointed, seriously, I'm gonna fail. That's what their face said. They didn't say that, but their face was like so concerned. But by the end of class period, they was getting all the questions right, and I was like, this is why y'all shouldn't doubt yourself. You are not gonna understand everything I show you at first, because guess what, it's brand new. But I understand subtracting integers, I don't even know what to say. I feel like it's such a hard concept to understand. How, let me show y'all. Sorry for those who don't teach math, but I'm gonna still show y'all what we did today because I thought it was really cute. And yes, these products are finally on TPT. I made my TPT store over the 4-day weekend. Okay, so this was the start of our lesson. Now, I was so upset with myself this morning because one, I left my whole notebook in the car, so they couldn't see my beautiful notes that I worked so hard on. But it's whatever. I used one of my students' notebook as an example. And two, I forgot to print this whole page. I was making checklists this weekend, checking off my things, printing things out, writing sticky notes on what I needed to copy, what I needed to laminate. I felt so organized. And when I got here, I said, wait, this is a whole notebook page and I don't have it ready for y'all. I'm so sorry. I was just like, bruh. My life is a hot mess. Basically, I said it like 17 million times today. But my kids were great about it, and we just did this visually. I had it up there, and they just looked, and I asked the questions, and they just went along with me without having anything to write in their notebook for today. I told them I'm going to print it out for them tomorrow, but I feel like it doesn't make any sense now. Like, it was supposed to be a walkthrough so that they can visually understand, but your girl made a uh-oh. Anyway, I got this new toy, and I'm obsessed with it. Literally, it plays my whole PowerPoints slide by slide, and it has a whole little laser at the end and everything. Oh, can y'all see that? Like, oh, ooh, I'm trying to see if I can see the lens. Does that do something? Does that look like blind y'all? Whatever, I don't know. But it was so cool to be able to go through my slide. I didn't have to sit here and do my presentation. I was able to walk around because I literally hate sitting down for the whole class period. Like, I know I've done it for a while because that's all we've done so far with the diagnostic and blah blah blah, but I hate it. I like to walk around and see what my kids are doing and like checking to see who has problems, who's getting it. Like, you know, I hate sitting here. And then also proximity, fun fact, is a very good classroom management tool. Like, just stand close to those who you think will talk or are talking and see how it goes. Let me know. I learned that when I was in college in my classroom management class, and it's literally such a simple tip, but it works wonders. I was like, wow, okay, because I implemented it when I was student teaching and even when I was subbing, and I was like, okay, I like this tool. So I literally, and the kids don't even be knowing, like, they just think you're talking because you're not getting them in trouble. Like, you're not saying anything to them. You're literally just walking in their area. And then I walk around and I make it look like I'm walking, checking out everybody. But if you pay attention to where I'm standing, most of the time it's in the same general area around the kids I know I'll have to redirect. You feel me? So, shh, don't tell the kids. Some of my kids watch this video, so y'all want to see. But y'all know, all my kids who talk way too much know they are talkers. But it's okay, because majority of the time they get their work done anyway. And I told them today, I was like, you see, this is my problem. I literally get distracted. And I do it with the kids too. I know I'm supposed to tell you guys what we did, but I'm gonna tell you my little story first. So I was telling my first period class this morning, they're brilliant, but they talk a lot, right? But it's okay, because they know when it's the time to talk and when it's the time not to talk. And I told them, I said, I used to be just like you. I used to get in trouble for talking way too much. And it didn't matter where my teacher put me, because I would talk to whoever was sitting next to me. And I remember I used to get, like, I think the first progress report, not progress report, like, you know, the reports elementary school people send home, it was because I was talking too much. I think that was what it was. If I remember exactly what grade it was, and I'm pretty sure it was because I was talking too much. Mother, I know you're watching this. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think the only time I would ever get in trouble is because I was talking too much. But I still did my work though. And that's what I told the kids. I said, to be honest, if you're not talking when I'm talking and you're still getting your work done, I don't care. I don't care what y'all talking about, as long as it's school appropriate. I don't care how much y'all talking to each other, as long as y'all not annoying each other. Talking and excess noise does not bother me as long as it's not done while I'm talking. Which another one of my class period does not understand that concept. Like, if I let them speak for 5 seconds, it's over. It's over. It's over. Like, I can't, like, even say any type of comment off topic while I'm teaching, because it's over. So I try in that class period to stay on topic as much as possible. And then when we get to independent practice, that's when we can have discussions, because I can, like, get them on topic again. Like, I can keep them on task while they are still talking. That makes sense. Like, I walk around and I make sure you're working, because I don't mind the talking. Yeah, so that's my little tangent. Anyway, let me show you guys what I did today. Okay, so this was the slide that was supposed to be printed for them, but wasn't, but we went over. So again, as I progress every class period, I figure out what I need to say and or do to make the lesson more understandable. So I broke this into 2 pieces after, like, about second period, because I realized, oh, it's so wiggly, sorry y'all. I realized that it makes more sense if I did this. Bruh. Today I said bruh, and one of my students was like, I've never heard any of my teachers ever say bruh before. I'm like, my bad. Anyway, oh, why is this not staying up? Sorry, y'all. Hold on. All right, there we go. Perfect. Hands free. All right, so basically, this is me trying to conceptually explain. Oh no, did I just turn it? What did I just do? Let me unplug all of this nonsense because it's confusing the computer. Hello? What is happening, y'all? Okay, there we go. Let me switch the presentation mode. Dang, what is happening? Oh, because it's okay. There we go. All right, so this was the best of my ability in trying to explain subtracting integers conceptually. So basically, we kind of reviewed adding integer rules for the do now, and them rules is drilled into these kids' head. They're really good at adding integers. So I am trying to not, like, I know in previous years I've talked about how subtraction no longer exists, because I don't know if you guys ever seen the Matrix video, but if not, I'm going to link in the description, and I did show parts of it. Anyway, so basically I have the 4 different types of subtracting, starting with a negative and subtracting a negative, starting with a negative and subtracting a positive, starting with a positive, subtracting a negative, and starting with a positive and subtracting a positive. So the 4 different types of subtraction questions. And I know some people like to separate them, but I personally feel that combining them and just teaching one rule helps the kids with less like rule memorization, which at the end of the day, they're supposed to understand this conceptually, but this is a really hard concept, in my opinion, to understand fully. So I tried. So let me show you guys what I did. Okay. Ooh, look, it's drying. Focus on my glue. Yay, it's drying. So exciting. Anyway, okay, back to the slide. So the first question says, I don't know if you guys can see that really well. It says, how much are we starting with? So I first had my student, like a student volunteer for class dojo points. Ooh, did I show you guys my toy? I literally got issues. I was able to present with this. Look, ready? This was so much fun, y'all. I know I'm late to the game. I seen teachers Ben had this. And the little light. I think I showed y'all. I was on mine. Anyway, okay. To the top. All right. So I had students read me the problem because I need them to understand that you're subtracting a -6. So someone would read me the problem. And then I would say, okay, how much are we starting with? And they would look, we're starting with a -1. Then I would ask them, what color counter, because I explained that we're going to try and conceptually explain this concept, with counters just like we did with adding. Because then I asked them, I was like, do you guys know what conceptually means? And they were like, no. And I said, okay, so you know how we played with counters to figure out the rules for adding? I said, you see how I didn't teach you the rules for adding until you figure them out on your own? It's because you understood the concept of adding the integers. I said, I'm going to try my best to explain with subtracting, but don't stress yourself out if you don't understand it, because it is a difficult concept. So I feel like they weren't worried. They were expressively confused, but by the end of the class, like I was saying earlier, they felt more confident because they understood a concept they first didn't understand better. I'm rambling. My bad, y'all. Anyway, so they told me what we started with, and I said, okay, what counter represents a negative? Then they said red, because we already talked about counters when we did adding. So I said, okay, we have one negative counter. Perfect. What are we taking away? And they said -6. I said, okay, now, do we have 6 counters to take away? And they were all like, no. I said, okay. Oh, sorry, I forgot to keep going. So -6 and no, right? So I said, okay, what can we do here to get 6 counters? Crickets, because, confusion, because this is hard. Subtracting integers, I hate teaching it conceptually because I feel like it's so hard. When I figure out the concept and how I can easily explain to my kids, I will feel like a genius. So if you know, please let me know, because your girl still don't understand this concept well enough to explain it. I know how to do it. I can teach the kids how to do it with the steps, but I like for them to know the concepts of every lesson. Anyway, moving on. So I said, okay, what number can I add to any number and it does not change the value? Easy. They all knew the answer was 0. I said, okay, right. Let's do some examples. 5 plus 0, 5. 1,000 plus 0, 1,000, etc. Right? So then we talked about a 0 pair. I said, okay, so 0 pairs, right? Who can tell me what a 0 pair is? And if you guys remember from my last, no, it wasn't last week. It was the week before that. I'll link it in the description and up there in the cards. I said, what is a 0 pair? Because we defined it in our notes 2 weeks ago. So they were able to say a pair of 2 numbers that add together to equal 0. They didn't really say add, they just said cancel, which it's okay. That means the same thing. So they're like 2 numbers that cancel each other out. I said, okay, good. So for example, if I start with 6 and I add 4, what do I get? 10. I subtract 4, what do I get? 6. I said, okay, see how we ended where we started? So by adding those 2 sets of 0 pairs, we didn't really do anything to the question. And they're like, yeah. So I said, okay, so we can add 0 pairs here until we have enough negative counters to take away. And I was like, okay, we have 1 negative counter. So how many more counters do we need in order to take away 6? 5. And I was so proud that they were understanding the questions I was asking, even though they kind of still were confused with the whole adding zeros, taking this concept gives me a headache. Anyway, so I was like, all right, great. Now we can take away 6 counters. So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I took away 6 counters. I said, what's left? They were easily able to see that there's 5 left. As soon as I put a 5, I said, huh? Like, how taking away -6 and I got a positive number? There's not even negative. I'm sorry, I'm blurring the screen. They're like, there's not even any negatives in the original question. And I was like, I did like evil laugh, like, and they're like, let's prevent that laugh. I was like, because I like to see where your brains are going. Like, I love the conversation of confusion because I love when their confidence builds from that confusion. Anyway, so moving on. So then I did the second question. I said, okay, -7 minus 4. What are we starting with? They were like -7. I said, okay, -7. So the -7 counters came. I said, all right, what are we taking away? Now, this is the part of confusion sometimes because they'll say we're taking away -4. I said, no, that's a subtraction. What are we taking away? And they were like, oh, okay, I see it, +4. I was actually surprised that most of my kids did see that as a +4. A couple of people were confused, but most of the time I have issues with this. They think that's a -4, which will come later when I talk about my KFC method. But anyway, so moving on. So I was like, okay, we're taking away +4. Oh, I forgot 7. Y'all wasn't going to tell me. So I said, okay, we're taking away +4. Do we have any positive counters here? No. I said, okay, how many do we need to add to be able to take away 4? They said 4 0 pairs. And I loved the vocabulary. They were starting to say 0 pairs instead of 0. So I said, okay, great. So we added 4. I said, all right, now we could take away our 4 positive. What's left? -11. This one, they were like, oh, okay, I kind of understand, because they see that there's 2 negatives, -7, -4, and they were able to see that if we, just like with adding, if we just add those together, it's -11. I said, okay, y'all so smart. I only had like 2 kids notice that in 2 separate periods. But I loved the dialogue. Like, it was great. What's the word? There's a word for this, like something struggle, something. I'll get back to y'all tomorrow after I talk to my coworker because she know what I'm talking about. All right, then the next question was 9 minus -7. I said, okay, what are we starting with? +9 this time. And then the kids thought they knew they was talking about. They was like, oh, okay, so when we start with a positive, this. And I said, okay, but I'll get to that. But basically, it wasn't accurate. But I loved, again, hearing them try to understand what was going on. All right, so 9. I said, okay, what are we taking away? They said, okay, -7. Perfect. Do we have any negative counters? No. All right, okay, so we don't have any negative counters. So how many do we need to add in order to get -7? They said 7 0 pairs. All right, perfect. So I did my 7 0 pairs. I said, now we could take away our -7. Boom, boom, ba, boom, bam, boom, ba. I think that's how TikTok go. I said, okay, how many do we have now? What's left? And they said 16. Boom. All right, I said, last one. What are we starting with? 2. What are we taking away? 10. By this point, they got it. They was able to answer these questions with a quickness. All right? My kids is geniuses. Anyway, so I was like, all right, is there enough positive integers to take away? No. Boom. If we have 2 positive counters and we need to take away 10, how many more do we need to add to this problem? 8. Okay, so we need 8, 0 pairs. Moving on, boom, boom, boom. I said, okay, now we can take away our positive 10. Look at me, look at my little clicker, like I don't know how to act. Nah. Anyway, so I said, okay, what's left? Negative 8. I said, all right, now let's have a discussion about what you guys see. One of my periods, guys, was actually kind of able to somewhat get the rules of subtracting. They're like, okay, if I'm taking away a negative, I'm kind of making my number more positive, right? And I said, oh, I only had one kid say that. And I was like, wow, you smarter than me. Because I had to search hard over these years of teaching on ways to make this be understood. But anyway, so after this, I didn't do this until 3rd period, y'all. I learned my lesson from 1st and 6th. After this, I was like, okay, we had a little discussion. I was like, I love to hear what you guys have to say. Let me show you guys a video. So we went to this video, and I started it about right
Remember in math.
here.
Addition and subtraction exist as two sides of the same coin. They're anywhere positive and negative forces collide. Good and bad feelings, national politics, and even right here in Gotham. Gotham was once a good city. There were positive people, like Alfred. Add a positive number, move in the positive direction.
And I pause it here because Miss Ambrose taught me this. I don't know what it's called. Again, a teaching strategy. I don't know the title, but to pause and have the students repeat what they heard or ask questions based on what's happening. So I said, okay, adding a positive number, we move in the positive direction. Perfect. They would all shout that. And then I said, okay, which direction is positive? And they were like, to the right. All right, note. I said, okay, notice that. Let's continue.
But over time, Gotham was corrupted by criminals. Add a negative number, move in a negative direction.
Okay, pause. Add a negative number, move in what direction? Negative. I said, okay, which direction is negative? And they were like, to the left. I said, okay, good. This was easy. They understood this part. Add a positive, it becomes more positive. Add a negative, it becomes more negative. Now, this is where the complexness came in, which I love how this video explains it. And then we talked about friendship groups in some of my class periods. So I'll talk about that in a second. But
then, Batman came. Hey, Math Club. And he started cleaning up all the criminals. Notice that subtract.
Then I paused it again. I said, okay, what happened when Batman subtracted the negative criminals? They said it moved more into the positive. I said, exactly. So we subtracted the negative and our city is becoming more positive. I said, think about like friends. If I subtract the negative people in my life, what happens to my overall life? It becomes more positive. You become happier, right? It was like, yeah, we got to cut people out. That's where the dialogue kicks in, or I sometimes have to, depending on the class period, not bring that up. Anyway, moving on.
Acting the negatives and adding a positive did the same thing. They both moved in the positive direction.
So I like how it recaps it. I'm trying to get this point across, so I recap it as much as possible. So I know I just said that, but they just say it too, and I know it's coming. I just want them to know, to hear me. Like, and if they ain't hear me, they hear the video.
In Gotham safer. But then the Joker came, kidnapped Rachel Dawes and Harvey Dent, and turned Harvey.
So I said, okay, so they're subtracting positive people. What's happening to the city? Like, it's becoming more evil. It's becoming more corrupt. They used the word the guy used. And I said, exactly. So when we subtract a positive, it's kind of like we're adding a negative, right? When we add a negative, the city becomes more corrupt. And when we take away the good people, the city becomes more corrupt. And they understand that. So they're all like, oh, they start to understand it. I love to see their little faces lighten up. Like, I get it now.
Harvey Dent into Two-Face.
This is where I stop it, because then it becomes more complex. And in this video, it's cute. I love the idea. I don't like how they say subtraction doesn't exist. I know it's supposed to be like a playful thing, but my kids start to like take that to heart. And then when they have to find the difference when they're adding different signs, they're like, I thought subtraction doesn't exist. And I ain't trying to have that conversation anymore. Because I'm like, it does, but it doesn't. So I don't even use that part of the video. So then I said, okay, so we just learned that subtracting a negative is the same as what? They're like adding a positive. So I was like, okay, so -1 plus 6. Remembering our adding rules, does -1 plus 6 equal 5? And I was using my fancy schmancy light. They're like, yeah, it does. And then I said, okay, -7 minus 4. Subtracting a positive is the same as adding what? A negative. So I had a couple of kids. So I'm debating whether I should keep this. I mean, you could just skip through it, but some of my classes didn't need the reinforcements. Some of them did. So if they didn't understand that this was the same as this answer, I had a little demonstration here. And they were canceling like, oh, okay, I see it now. I love how honest my kids are with not knowing what they know. And I don't know if that's because I set it up that way or because they're just built that way, because like I said, these kids is built different. They're amazing. But I have no experimental data, so I can't tell you what it is. So then I brought that up. Some of the classes, again, like I said, I could skip that. Some of them I had to re-explain, which I like that the visual is there. So now I have -7 plus -4. I said, okay, does -7 plus -4 equal -11? They're like, yeah, it does. And then I said, okay, 9 minus -7. Subtracting a negative is the same as adding what? A positive. Wrong way. So I said, okay, good. Does 9 plus 7 equal 16? Yes. All right, moving on. 2 minus +10 is the same as 2 plus what? -10. So I said, okay, does 2 plus -10 give me -8? Yes. So I feel like the fact that we spend so much time on adding integers in the rules, not necessarily in the past, I've made the mistake with, like I said before, focusing more on the subtracting. Let me not even go over that, but I feel like focusing more on turning this into addition, and then just going from there helps the kids better understand it conceptually. I don't know. This is the first time I explained it like this in my whole career of teaching, and I hope it sticks. We'll see. I'll let y'all know. But yeah, so then I went over to our notes. So after this, I do come back to this, but I'm going to show you guys what I do. So then I come over to the notes, and let me show y'all what my notes look like. I'm super proud of them. They're so cute. Okay, so the notes for today are right here. So it's I call it my KFC method. And I have my little chicken box. And yes, again, this is my TBT. I'm super proud of it. It's so cute. Oh, I don't have the answers in this one. Like I said, I don't like writing in this. Okay, so here. This is what I do with my kids. So I said, okay, now we know that subtracting a number is the same as adding its opposite, right? So now that they saw the concept with the video and the counters, they know that this is the rule before I even give them the rule. And I learned this in a training to let the kids know what they're, like, why they need to know what they need to know before you tell them what they need to know. If that makes any sense at all. But anyway, so they fill this in. I said, okay, so if I'm subtracting a negative, what am I actually adding? They're like, a positive. Okay, if I'm subtracting a positive, what am I actually adding? A negative. So they were kind of getting it now with this. And then I said, okay, once you flip your expression, you follow the rules for adding integers, which again, they're very good at. None of my kids got less than a B on the adding integers quiz. So then we move on. I said, okay, so how many of y'all like fried chicken? In one of my class periods, we took a poll between KFC and Popeyes, and majority of us picked Popeyes. They're like, okay, so why you got KFC up in here? I said, because it's the only thing I could think of that was cute to match what I wanted to teach y'all. And a lot of them remember KCF, like keep, change, flip, but I think KFC is cuter because the fried chicken. And a lot of people say the reason why I changed it to this is because a lot of my kids used to get confused because they used to think that KCF, like for keep, change, flip for fractions, looked like KFC. So I teach now KFC for both this and fractions. But anyway, moving on. So I explained, like, this time around, I did not have my kids cut it out like I did with adding integers first. We did the notes, and it was much easier to get through this and then explain how we were going to set it up in our notebook. So this is how we set it up. I could flippable, so they kind of can, if they forget what one means, they can now get to it. But anyway, I talk a lot. I'm sorry, y'all. So we did the first problem, which is... So the original problem, let me give you guys a blank sheet. So the original problem looks like this. So it's -5 minus 14. And I specifically picked this problem because a lot of the times my kids will think this is a negative 14 we're subtracting, but we're subtracting a positive 14, which is why I put this helpful hint, but I'm moving ahead of myself. So I said, okay, the K in KFC stands for keep. Keep the first number the same. And then I pull the PowerPoint back up, and I say, if you guys notice, in each of these problems, the first number did not change. And I said, okay, so if we're keeping the first number the same, what is the first part of my addition sentence? So that's easy. They know it's the same. So we literally write -5 again. And I said, okay, now we're going to flip the subtraction sign to an addition sign. So I emphasize my strategy of circling the negative, because me as a whole math teacher still gets confused if I don't do that. And it's funny because someone in my first period revealed themselves after they made a mistake. So they made a mistake with the subtracting a positive, because that is, I feel, the biggest problem when they have to rewrite as adding. It's the easiest when you look at it, because you see that there's two negatives and you instantly add. At least a lot of my kids pick up that rule, like that strategy. But when you have to change it to an addition problem is where they mess up, because they think that second number is actually negative, but it's not. So it was funny because I was explaining why I emphasize circling, because I said I make that mistake. And my student, after she messed up in a different question, she was saying, I was thinking like, well, how can someone make a mistake like that? But then I messed up. It was so funny. I was like, you see? So yeah, I talk about how circling the subtraction symbol helps you clearly identify the sign of the second number. So I circle the subtraction, and then we flip it to addition. Then I said the C stands for change the second number to its opposite. I said, okay, now this is circled already when I take notes, so they can see that this is 14. I said, okay, now what is the opposite of 14? Easy, -14. So when they see the problem again, it's -5 plus -14, and they are able to tell me that this final answer is -19. We don't write it anywhere because it's not important for this part of the notes. But then I pass out the second half, which is this one, and I literally go through every single problem step by step. So the first time around, I said, okay, we're going to KFC these problems. What does the K stand for? Keep. I said, okay, we're going to keep that 34 the same. Circle my subtraction. What does the F stand for? Flip. Okay, we're going to flip it to addition. What does the C stand for? Change. What are we changing this to? It's opposite, -19. And then once we get here, my kids are pretty good about getting the answer. I had a couple of them struggle, but as I was walking around, they would ask for help and re-explaining. And I would say, okay, turn to page 2, adding integers. Flip, are the signs the same? Are they not? And they were able to use this resource because I'm trying to teach them how to use their notes to answer the questions they have. So we did this side together as a whole class, and then they did this one on their own. And I kind of do the I do, we do. So I do the first one. Actually, I kind of do that we do. I never fully take on a problem by myself. I always ask questions for every single question problem. I hate when I say question. Do you have a question on the question? So yeah, so we went through this. The kids who were confused, I started to get it. I still have kids confused, which I explained. I said, it's okay. I will say that almost every day to them because I want them to be okay with not knowing right away. I'm like, it's a new concept. It will be hard. But as I was walking around, they were getting it, and I was super proud of them. I've been very intentional this year with praising perseverance. So like if they don't get it fully right, or if they're struggling, I'm like, I'll walk them through it, and I'm like, I'm proud of you for trying. I'm proud of you for publicly giving me the wrong answer. I don't say it like that, but like if someone raises their hand and they give me the wrong answer, I said, not quite. And I'm like, thank you for answering, but, and then we'll talk about why their answer is. And I explained to some of my classes, because a lot of my kids will be like, oh, I know the answer. I said, I'm not going to pick on another person because someone gets it wrong. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, depending on how fast we're going and how much time we have. But most of the time, I'll have them, the student who got it wrong, figure out why they got it wrong, not on their own. We have a conversation. And then I want them to give me the correct answer. And I try to explain to some of my class periods, like, they need to productive struggle. Is that the word? I don't know. But yeah, I feel like that's really important because one, they don't automatically feel shut down. Like, oh, I got it wrong, I'm not going to try again. They still get cause dojo points for attempting. And then they feel more confident by the time they're done answering it correctly because they were able to see their mistake and how they can avoid it, or what the rules actually stay in the future. And then they'll be like, oh, I didn't see that, or something like that. Like, it's usually a small mistake, but I love mistakes. I tell them all the time. One of my kids today was like, so you want us to get the wrong answer? I said, I don't want you to, but it's okay if you do. Like, I want you to be honest with what you actually know. So yeah, that is what we did today. A couple of my students got to get to the practice. I think only my first and third period maybe got to get to practice, but it was maneuvering the middles, color, so what is this thing called? Solve and color. So I love these because all of the answers are at the bottom. So I explicitly say, okay, so when you solve these, if you don't see the correct answer down here, it's probably wrong. And besides first period, all of my other classes that did get to this, I just gave them the first page and not the second one. So that way they can check their answers first and then color it later, because I've noticed in the past that a couple of my students will color as they go and then realize later that maybe they got, like, for example, 19 for this one, but then another one is 19, and they realize that the other one was right and this one was wrong, and they've already colored it that color. That's what we did today. I feel like it was a good lesson. I always feel like subtracting integers, like I said, is kind of difficult to teach conceptually. And I'm trying not to rush to the rules so quickly and kind of have my students figure out why it is what we're doing. But subtracting integers is rough, bruh. Even for me, like I said earlier. But yeah, so I also gave my kids some classes, not all of them got it. So I also gave my kids their customized stickers. I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I don't feel like doing anything else today. Tomorrow is open house and I have to stay after, and I still have so much in my classroom that I wanted to have done before open house that's not done. And you know what? I'm okay with it. At this point, I'm like, it's just gonna get done when it gets done. I still have not put my crock wall up. That is the one thing I want to be done before parents start coming tomorrow, because I just feel like there's nothing on two of my bulletin boards. I mean, I don't think they'll care that much. I don't even think I'll get a lot of parents. But I'm trying not to let it stress me out, and I feel like I'm doing a good job at that. Who am I? So it is 5:54 and they're about to close the gate at 6. So I gotta go. Oh, it's starting to peel. I'm gonna peel this off and then I'm gonna pack up and head out. All right, y'all. Peace out. Hey, y'all. It is finally Friday. Amen. Hallelujah. It is 4:35 on the dot. It literally just turned 00. And I am gonna go home after this and sleep until tomorrow. I don't know how such a short week, literally 3 days, felt like the longest week of my life, especially yesterday, longest day of 2021. I was so exhausted yesterday, guys, that when I left school at like 8 o'clock and went to my friend's house, all they had to do was ask me, how was school? And I literally started boohoo crying. I just feel overwhelmed and exhausted. And half of it is my own doing because I'm working so hard to create foldables and notes for my kids, and I'm also working hard at trying to make sure that my grid cycles are going well. But then there's other things that I feel like the things I actually want to do, I'm not able to do because of all the other things that I need to make sure I get done. All the extra stuff that I just don't want to be doing is overwhelming the things that I actually do want to do. Like, I have not done anything in my classroom since my last classroom setup vlog. Or the last thing, or I attempted to put the number signs up there and they're too big. I have literally done nothing in my classroom because I have no time. And by the time I get home, I just want to go to bed. And then I wake up early every morning to go to the gym. So I need to work on boundaries and creating a schedule and sticking to it. So your girl about to read the book Boundaries this weekend, maybe like 10 pages, 15, 20 max, because I still have a lot to do for next week as well. It's just the beginning of the school year, y'all. Like, this time every year, I feel overwhelmed, especially this year because it's the first time we're back. We're doing things in person, so I can bring back all my hands-on activities, my interactive notebooks. I can do all of that with my kids, and I'm super excited about. It's just a lot of work. It's overwhelming. It's a lot of work, but I love doing it. So half of the problem is my own problem. But that does not change the fact that I still feel overwhelmed and just extremely exhausted. So I need to learn to just be able to rest, because when I am home, I can't do anything if I know I have things to do. Like, I can't watch a movie, I can't focus on reading a book, I can't do anything because I'm like, okay, I have this to do, I have this to do, I have this to do. So I'm seeking a therapist, like all my friends suggest, so that they can help me with some coping mechanisms to like just turn my mind off and relax. So pray for me, y'all. Anyway, yesterday my kids did, I'll show you. Let me just get straight into what we did so I can wrap this video up and go home and take a nap. Literally not take a nap, like fall asleep until tomorrow. Monday we took notes. We did the KFC method. Let me I don't have to remind you because you guys literally just saw it 5 seconds ago. To me, it may have been 48 hours ago, more than that. I keep forgetting that it literally goes through next day or next day. So yeah, so on Wednesday we took notes, and then yesterday my kids did a practice assignment. They did maneuvering the middles, solve in color. So I made them turn it in, and I'm going to grade it, and then I'm going to give it back, and they're going to cut it out and put it in their notebooks. And then that was all they did yesterday. Then it was open house, because while they were working on that, which they did beautifully, I was able to like clean up my room a little bit, get some grades in to prepare for open house and all of that. I didn't get to fully prepare for open house until after school, but open house was phenomenal. Like, I don't know why I stress myself out all the time with everything, and I always feel like something's gonna go wrong or something is going to happen negatively, and it never does. So I don't know where I get this mindset from. So yeah, open house was amazing. It rained really hard, like 30 minutes before open house started. So I feel like that, what's the word I'm trying to say? Basically didn't allow all the parents that I thought were coming to come. So that's okay. But the parents that did come were amazing. Almost all of them asked what I needed for my classroom. Didn't have anything prepared for that. I told them I was going to send them my classroom wish lists another time. I was sad today, but I have no time to put nothing together. So I'm going to send it to them sometime next week. So tip for open house, have like a QR code or a link to your Amazon wish list, because a lot of my parents really wanted to buy things for my classroom, and I had nothing to share with them. I mean, I'm sure I could have named like expo markers, you know, just the norm. But I do know I have things on my wish list that are top priority. So I'm just going to send it to them and see what they donate to my classroom. I'm super excited about that. And yeah, so yesterday was great, bad-ish, because I was so exhausted, so overwhelmed. And I forgot my lunch, so I was starving. Like, yesterday was just a bad day. Like, I don't know if you guys can see my eyes. Like, they are full of exhaustion. And this morning when I woke up, because I cried yesterday, big old puffs under my eyes. Your girl needs some help. So today we played a fun Friday game, Train with Tactility. It was a hot seat. I had to remember for a second. I can't really show you guys like any physical thing for it. I mean, I can show you. I just had problems displayed on the board. Basically what hot seat is, it's such an easy game, you guys. So easy. And my kids love it. So what they did, and what I love about hot seat, guys, is, so I let the kids know from the beginning of the game that if I hear any negative talk, any degrading messages, like anything like bro, really, or that's so easy, like what, like any of those type of outbursts, I don't want to hear it, because that makes other people feel insecure and feel bad, like they don't know the answer. So I'm like, this is practice. Literally, if you try your hardest and you keep listening to the answer and how we got the answer after every single round, eventually you'll start getting the correct answer. Your confidence will build, and you'll be able to feel like you've mastered the topic, right? So I've had a couple of students who at the beginning, I actually had about like 9 students who were not here for the lesson. And some of them, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 who this was their first day today. And by the end of hot seat, they understood the concept. So I told them, I said, you're going to, They're like, I wasn't here. I'm like, you're going to go through something called productive struggle where you're going to try. And then as we go over every single question, you're going to learn. And then by the time it's your turn, maybe the third time, you will get it. And most of them got it. And they were super proud of themselves. Like I saw them, like when they would get it, I would say yes. They'd be like, yes. Like it was so fun to watch them work. I love hot seat, and it's so simple. So basically all you do is, so I have my classroom set up in rows. So this is how it looks. So that was team 1, team 2, team 3, and team 4. And then I had the kids who are still not done with the diagnostics sit over there at the desks facing that way. So how hot seat works. I love this game, y'all. Because every kid participates, you are able to see the ability of every child, how they progress through the game, who still needs help after the entirety of the game. Like it is a great game. And I take notes while they're working. So the front desk of every row is the hot seat. So the kids all get to be in the hot seat. So how it works is I have a slideshow of questions. All of the questions we're subtracting. I put a question up and then I set my timer. But before I start, I explain the rules, obviously. And then I'm like, all right, ready, set, go. So the person in the hot seat has to answer the question correctly and within 30 seconds, right? So if they get it incorrectly, the whiteboard moves to the person behind them. And then if that person gets it wrong, behind them, and if that person gets it wrong, behind them, and so forth until they run out of people. And then if they run out of the 30 seconds, same thing. So how it works with points is if the person in the hot seat gets it right the first time, that team gets 4 points. If they don't get it right and they have to pass it to the person behind them, if that person gets it correct, the team gets 3 points. If that person doesn't get it correct and it moves back to the person behind them, that person gets it correct, it's 2 points, and so forth until they run out of people. And eventually it'll be 0 points. So I only had that happen one time in one class. So that's how the points work. And then once that round is over, I have it written down. I literally just threw away the paper. So here we go. Oh, so basically this is how I have it set up. Real ghetto, but whatever. These are my rows, and then these are the points. So on this round, the second person got it correct, and these 2 teams, the hot seat person got it correct. So that's how the points work. So now, after I explain the answer, and they're like, oh yeah, dang, I messed this up, or oh, I put it as a negative, because I don't tell them how they got it wrong. They put up their board, I say, nope, pass it, good. And I write something, and then they'll erase it, and they'll quickly do it to the next person, and so forth. And then at the end, I explain the answer. So when I go over the answer and the steps are like, oh, I missed the negative, or I was supposed to subtract, or I forgot to flip it to they have like their little remarks, and I love to hear it because they're seeing the mistakes they're making. So then the person in the front gets up, moves to the back, and everybody else scoots up. So then the second person is now in the hot seat. And then we do the same thing over again. I show them a question. If the first person in the row gets it right, it's 4 points. If not, it moves back, 3 points, 2 points, etc. And then I explain it. That round is done. And then I say switch, and then they keep going and rotating and rotating. And it's a phenomenal game because you can see how the kids are correcting their mistakes, learning from their mistakes, and getting the next question right and the next question right. And it's just such a great, I forgot the word, formative assessment. Basically, assessment. Scared me.
Attention all teachers and staff, this is 5 o'clock on call for the East Day.
All right, I literally have 8 minutes to finish this conversation because I'm trying to leave at 5. But so that is how the game goes. It was a great game. My kids who won first place, I got their name, and they're going to get snacks on Monday. My last period, guys, 3 of the teams tied at 61 points. So we have to do some type of tiebreaker on Monday because we played it until the bell rang. Or it was time for dismissal because it doesn't really ring because we do a staggered dismissal. But anyway, all my kids played. They all did great. Even the class I was having trouble with last week, they did a great job today. Still a little rowdy, but acceptable rowdy. I was like, okay, I can work with this. So I'm super proud of them. I didn't get to explain that because literally you just seen how they rushed out of here. Well, but some of them stayed. They're like, who won? I had to calculate real quick. It was just crazy. But it was super fun. And yeah, also, let me show you guys what I did with So as I told you guys last week, we did the diagnostic and I have like 0 rush flags and I'm super proud. I still have kids taking it, so not every class has done this yet, but the classes who have finished, and well, all of them have no rush flags. So the classes that have finished, they got rewards today, and let me show you what they got. So I brought them donuts. So one of my classes got donuts today, another one got donuts on Wednesday, and then I got these little donut sticker packs from Amazon. I have 2 of the same pack. So it was $14 because one pack is 7. So it's a total of 204 stickers. So they get to pick their sticker. And then I continued with the donut theme and I gave them a donut iready homework pass. So this is what it looks like. Finally, okay, it cleared up. Redeem this pass to skip a week of iready requirements cannot be redeemed for assigned lessons. So they got one of these, they got one of these, and they each got a donut. So now I'm just waiting for everyone to finish so we can go over their diagnostic data. And I made this little worksheet. Let me show you guys real quick. It's an iready data chat. And at the bottom it says, do not forget how awesome you are. So I really stuck with the donut theme because of the fact that I promised them donuts and I think they came out super cute. Yes, these are in my TPT store. I am super excited that I finally have it up and running. Okay, so I only have 5 more minutes before I have to head down and leave before they lock the gate on me. But if I forgot to include anything, I will definitely bring it up in next week's vlog. But that's basically what we did this week. It was a good week. I feel like this is the best I've ever taught subtracting integers, and my students are thoroughly understanding it. For the most part, I still have some students who are struggling, but we're going to work on it some more. Like, this is not the end of subtracting integers, and I explained that to them. They got their homework this week. They have a week to work on it. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe so you can become part of the M&M crew. But most importantly, don't forget to spread some Marigold magic. I love you guys so much.